Okay, guys, here is your walkthrough for installing the data pack and doing a t-test on Excel through a Mac for those of you who are Mac users. Um, so I just downloaded the Book One raw data Excel spreadsheet uh, off of Canvas, and so you click data. Now, if you have data analysis, it will show up way over here on the right. Um, but if you don't, go up here to your like higher level menu, whatever they refer to this as. Go to Tools, down here Excel Add-ins, and click Analysis Tool Pack, and click OK. And then once you have your data, your data here, data analysis should show up. Uh, may have to restart Excel, but I have not seen that on Macs. So you click the data analysis, and what you want is the t-test to sample assuming equal variances. All right, you click OK. Variable one range, just make sure your cursor is flashing in that field. Come over here and click and drag and select all of your data points for your first one. This happens to be non-rural, and do the same for your second one. It doesn't matter which one you pick for variable one and variable two. Just remember which one you pick for each one because you're going to assign them names later on. And nothing else you need to fill out here. Again, the alpha 0.05, that should look familiar. That's a 5% chance that what we're seeing is due to random sampling or sampling error. And this will open up in a second sheet. If you notice, you've still got sheet one with your raw data. Sheet two will open up with your results. And you can increase the size. Just go down here to the right, zoom in a little bit. So there's your results for your t-test. Again, you've got variable one, variable two. You've got the mean for each one. You have the variance for each, the observations, and the n number for each, and your degrees of freedom. This is your total degrees of freedom. Remember, we need the total degrees of freedom for the critical value test, or the critical value comparison when you do our t value. So here's your t value, 5.45. I will put up a critical value test, but I'll just tell you now, with 157 degrees of freedom, this is well above any critical value at even at infinity. So our t value is greater than our critical value, so we're going to reject the null hypothesis that there's no difference in means. If you look, here's our mean. So what this is telling us, this mean of 14 and a mean of 4, is telling us that in the non-rural counties, which is our first variable, there was 14.1 drug overdose deaths per 100,000 people in the non-rural counties. In the rural counties, there was an average, a mean of 4.8 deaths per 100,000 people in the rural counties. Okay, so that's what these two means are telling us then. And again, these are death rates, so it's per 100,000. Now, you notice I clicked off this cell here. You don't want this whole thing highlighted, otherwise you'll get some funky results when you go to do this. But to build your chart, you go over to Insert, and you go to your different charts. You want this first one here, this column bar chart. Select the first one you see, the 2D column. And, oh, no, okay, so why did that do that? Not sure why that did that. Okay, so let's try that again. That got the funky results that I was telling you about. Okay, all right. I don't know. I must have had something in there still selected. So anyway, it should come up blank. Okay, and then you what is it? Command click. Yeah, command click or double finger click, whatever. And select data, and okay, so your chart data range. Um, Make sure again your cursor is flashing in this cell, and the range you want to select both cells with both means. Okay, and that's your chart data range. Click OK there. Oh, go back. Sorry. Select data. I forgot something. Your horizontal category axis labels. Now that tells you what your data labels are. Again, make sure your cursor is highlighted that, and then you want to select both these cells with the words variable 1 and variable 2. And you click OK. All right, now you've got your labels there. Okay, so you can click the chart title, and again, you want to change this to, you know, drug overdose death rate means in rural versus non-rural Georgia counties in 2017, something like that, something informative. And again, you've got an example on Canvas. As far as changing the names of these two, now again, we've linked the title of these bars to uh, these cells here. So we go over to the cell, select delete, and we just type in what we want to change it to, and that changes it down here on the actual graph. Okay. So again, doesn't matter which one you do. Series 1, series 2, but just remember which. Okay, so um, now we need a label for our vertical axis. So you want to select your graph, and you should have chart design pop up. It usually only pops up when the graph is selected. Select chart design over here, add chart element, and you want to select axis title. So you want a primary vertical axis title. And again, over here, you would explain what these numbers mean. And remember, these are drug overdose death rate means. And then you would put per 100,000. Okay, because it's a rate, you want to say, per how many. So this would be something like drug overdose death rate means, and then in parentheses per 100,000. Okay, that's what you do for this axis title. The other thing you might want to add under chart elements, data labels. I kind of like having the outside end um, puts the actual mean at the top of the bar here. I think that's really the only thing you really need. You don't need a label for the x-axis. I mean, this tells you what these two columns mean. This is your non-rural and this is your rural. I don't think you really need anything else as far as labels. But this allows you to do all sorts of stuff. And you should, again, already have a chart title. But if you don't, you can select it there. Um, so I don't think you need any other of these things. You get all sorts of neat stuff you can do, but this is as as complicated as you need it, really. So again, put in appropriate titles, and when you go to put this in your Word document with the conclusion and everything, all you really need to do is again command click. There's a control click. Okay, and just copy. Okay, you just make sure you're not like actually in a title, field, but just in the chart itself, and just control click and copy, and then you can paste this right into your Word document, and that's really all there is to it. Okay, so again, I want you guys to work on this, and I want you to try and do this before next week. That way, if you have issues or questions, you have a week to get in touch with me and work it out before you actually have to turn these in. Okay. Um, so don't hesitate to get a hold of me. I'm just an email away. And again, this should be an easy 100 points. Again, this is the same value as a practical. And most people, it's either 100 or 0. All right. If you get it in, turn it in as correct, it'll be an easy A. It should be. All right, guys. Thanks for your time.